First thing you need to do is you need to go to aplusstudents.com. You need to go to the website. Once you're on the website, you need to select math as your subject. This is a grade 5 math lesson, and the name of the topic for today is time. I'll give you the chapter number and the lesson number. Chapter number 12, lesson number 1. Chapter 12, lesson number 1, and the name of the lesson is Convert Time Units. Okay, so let's go to the grade 5 maths, chapter 12, and okay. So let's see with the time, right? Let's start off with the bigger value. In a time, we say 1 year. A year has a standard year, right? Has 365 days. Okay. They also have a leap year. A leap year is a year in which we have 29 days in February. That means leap year would be 366 days. But on the standard, we consider a year to be 365 days. This is the standard. Okay. A standard is 365 days. Now let's look at days. One day, a day has 24 hours. Agreed? And in each hour, 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Okay, let's look at a watch over here. This is a 12-hour clock, right? That means AM and PM. In 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. And for each minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay, we can count from here. This is starting point. This is 5 minutes. Then this is another 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and so on. Half an hour is always 30 minutes, right? Hi, Valerie. And half an hour would be 30 minutes. 1 complete hour would be, if this is 0 minutes over here, then half an hour would be 30 minutes. Agreed? Because it's half of an hour. Just a moment. Let me just shade this so that we have a better picture of this. Sorry. This is half an hour, right? Okay. Let's see if we will have questions about a decade. 1 decade has how many years? 10 years, right? A century. 1 century has 100 years. or a millennia. We can also look. Let's see if it's there required 1 century at 100 years, or it has 10 decades. Okay, so this is the basic breaking up of breakup of time. Our consideration would be the last part: day, hours, minutes, and seconds, right? Okay, let's look at some questions and let's see what they're asking us. What they're asking us is to convert. Just a moment, please. Let me copy. They're asking us to convert minutes into hours and minutes. Okay. So let's say the first question says, question number 1, we need to convert 489 minutes into hours and minutes. So let's see how many hours and how many minutes would be there in 489 minutes. Okay, let's look at multiple ways to do this question. Okay, for question number 1, we know that 1 hour was 60 minutes. Agreed? We have this information. This is a standard throughout the world. 1 hour would be 60 minutes. I'll do it by breaking it up, right? 6 times what number is anything near to 489? See, we can say, if we want to do it the lengthy way, we can say 60 plus 60 is 120, right? Plus 60, 180, plus 60, 240, plus 60. These are hours, right? 60 minutes. This would be 300 plus 60, 360 plus 60. That would be 420 plus 60 is 480. We can see 480 is a number that is near to 489, right? So these were the minutes given to us. I'll give you an easy way also. Let's see how many hours would be there. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Agreed? So we can say 8 hours and 489 minus 480. That means 9 minutes. Agreed? 8 hours and 9 minutes should be the answer. 8 hours, 9 minutes. Okay? 9 minutes. Because it's 489, right? Same I did, but in a different grade. This is grade 5 and we are studying time right now. You need to do a one-on-one. I cannot change the lesson, okay? Why? Okay, I'll give you an example. Today, what happened was, in 8 hours, how many minutes were there? In 8 hours, there were 480 minutes, right? Do we agree? 8 hours had 480 minutes. The total time given to us was 489. So out of 489, if we subtract 8 hours that had 480 minutes, we are left with 9 minutes, right? Do we agree? Whether do we agree on this? Because, okay, if I would say we had, if I would say convert, just an example, convert 63 minutes or 68 minutes, okay, into hours and minutes. Agreed? So we can say that this is hour and this is minutes, right? 1 hour has 60 minutes, right? That means 68 can be broken down into 60 plus 8. This is 1 hour. Agreed? So we can say it is 1 hour and the remaining minutes. Agreed? I took a small number for an example, okay? This was just an example. Let's do this question, the same question, 489, in an easier manner. Alternate way, but an easier way. Okay. See, the question was 489 minutes to be converted into hours and minutes, right? The easiest way is, we know that an hour, 1 hour would always have 60 minutes, right? So simply divide 489 minutes by a 60. Okay. We don't know the multiplication of 60, right? But we do know the multiplication of 6. 6 times 5 is 30, right? 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7, 42. But 6 times 8 is 48, right? So if I say 6 times 8 is 48 and there was a 0, we put a 0 over here. We simply subtract and we are left with 9 minutes and 8 hours. So we can say 8 hours and 9 minutes. Okay. The first working that I did was 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60. That is a very long working, right? We would have to do a lot of addition over there and we have a lot of chances of making an error. But if we know the division, right? We know that 8 was the quotient. It becomes the hours. Okay. And the remainder is the minutes. This is the remainder. That is the minutes. Okay. Let's try another example. Let's try doing another question. Okay. Let's pick up a number. Can anyone give me any number? 300, 400, random? Any number? If the question says convert this into minutes, okay? Let's pick up a random number. Question number 2. Okay, let's say if question number 2 says convert. Are you giving me a number? 573, any number. Pede, can you give me 120? Just pick up any 3-digit number. Can you type any 3-digit number? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, any number, 3-digit number. We'll convert that. Okay, I'll give a number, okay? I'll pick up a number. If the number was 538, okay? I just pick up a random number, 538. So what we can do is we can divide 538 by a 60 because an hour completes on a 60, right? Let's see, 53 is smaller than 60, right? So let's see. In the table of 6, where can we find 53? So can I say 6 times 6 is 36? 6 times 7 was 42. 6 times 8 was 48. And 6 times 9 was 54. So the closest number to 53 and smaller number than 53 would be 6 times 8. Agreed? So what we can say is 6 times 8 was 48. And we had a 0, we simply put a 0. When we subtract these numbers, we know the subtraction 538 minus 480. These were the ones, these were the tens, and these are the hundreds. 8 minus 0 would be 8. 13 minus 8 is 5. Okay, so we can say that over here we are left with 58. Agreed? So can we say the quotient was the hours and the remainder was the number of minutes? Agreed? So can we say our answer is 8 hours and 58 minutes? Do we agree? Okay, let's make this question a little more interesting. Let's not convert. Let's see how many more minutes have to be added to 530. I'm using 538 because we can relate to question number 2 and question number 3. How many more minutes have to be added to 538 minutes to find to find a complete to find complete hours, to find complete hours? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is if we had 538 minutes, right, and we know that 538 minutes would be equal to something, right? We can say we did the working over here already, right? We can say 538 minutes was equals to 8 hours and 58 minutes, right? We did this working already over here. I'm just relating to the question. They are asking us how many more minutes are to be added to this to find a complete hour. To make 58 minutes as one complete hour, how many more minutes should we add to this? If we add 2 more minutes, would it become 60 minutes? And can we say 60 minutes would be equals to 1 hour, right? So now the number of hours would change to 9 hours. If 538 minutes plus 2 more minutes, they round off to 9 hours. Agreed? Do we agree on this? See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to relate how many minutes are less in 538 to make it a complete hour, right? That means 2 minutes were more required. Okay, so let's try. The other questions are very simple. Okay, how many days are there in a normal year? Okay, question number 4. In question number 4, they're asking us how many days are there in a complete year? We know the number of days are 365, right? But if I would say how many days are there in a, just a moment, let me, in a leap year. A leap year comes after every 4 years, right? In which February has 29 days. So question number 5 would be, how many days are there in a leap year? 366 days. Okay. Moving ahead, how many years are there in a century? We did century, right? A century means 100. Question number 6. Century means 100 years. Okay, let's see. How many years are there in a millennia? Millennia is 1000. I showed you over here. Century and 1 millennia is 1000 years. Millennium, okay? So these are the small values that we can remember, right? A normal year is 365 days. A leap year would be 366 days. How many years are in a century? 100. How many years are in a millennia? 1000. Okay. Let's see if we have more word problems. Okay. Yes, we do have some more word problems. Let's have a look. How many minutes in an hour? Question number 8. How many minutes are there in an hour? There are 60 minutes, right? If I would say in half an hour, how many minutes are there in half an hour? Half means 0.5 or half hour. How do we find half hour? That means 0.5 multiplied by hour, right? 0.5 multiplied by 60 or half multiplied by 60 would be equals to 30 minutes. Agreed? A half an hour is 30 minutes. If your teacher says you have, okay, That's good. Now you know. Okay. So if your teacher says you have half an hour to do the test, that means the teacher is not telling you the minutes, right? Or if you ordered food and they would say the food would arrive in half an hour. So you cannot be assuming like, oh, would it take 10 minutes? Would it take 2 hours? Would it take 3 hours? You know, half an hour is 30 minutes, right? Let's look at another question. Just a minute, please. In a quarter of an hour, how many minutes are there in a quarter of an hour? Question number 10. We know that 1 hour is 60 minutes, right? 60. If we say this was, sorry, if if we say this was 0 minutes, 30 minutes, and comes out to be 60 minutes over here, right? So when 60 is divided into 4 quarters, quarter hour means 4 parts, right? Then we know that each part would represent certain time, a certain number of minutes, right? That means if the total was 60, then this would be 15 minutes, this was 30, this was 45, and this was 60, right? A quarter of an hour is this part, 1/4. Perfect. Thank you. There would be 15 minutes. Okay. We still have Erim. Semi, we have a lot of time now, right? I'll do it in the last few minutes, okay? Let's just do some questions. I'm not answering these questions for you people, right? You can always answer. Let's consider this as a test as well. Okay. There's one tricky question for this. If ever they ask you how many days are there in a month, in a week, okay, if this was question number 11, this is easy. How many days are there in 4 weeks? We know that a week has 7 days. Multiply by 4 weeks. 4 times 7 is 28. Take. Okay. That means there are 28 days in a week. Okay. But they would never ask you a perfect. Thank you, Adam. But they would never ask you how many days are there in a month. What is the maximum number of days in a month? In a calendar month? Okay, let's write. Question number 12. What can be the most number of days in any given month? In a month. How many days? We are looking at maximum number of days, right? Most number of days. Can they be 30? Oh, perfect. They cannot be 32 days in a month, right? There has to be 31 days. Okay. like March is a 31-day month. Okay, if I copy the same question, just a moment, please. Let me realign. And if I say the next question was question number 13, and question number 13 says that I change this word, minimum or the least in a month of a year. What can be the least number of days in a month? 30, right? Because January is 31, February, then March is 31, April is 30, May is 31, June, and so on, right? I'm just saying it. So what could be the least? I'm not trying to give you the answer. Hi, Rebecca. What could be the minimum number of days in a month? Hi, Bede. What can be the minimum number of days in a month? Semi? We know that February is the only month. Usually we have 30 and 31 days, right? But February has 28 days. Like last month, there were 28 days. So we can say the least number of days in any given month. No, semi would be 28 because we need to consider February also, right? February has 28 days. Last month it was 28 days. It's not recurring, right? It's not very common, but it happens every 3 years. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's do some difficult part over here. And still very easy. I don't think they are doing conversion yet. Okay. Question number 14 says, let's say this is question number 14. How many years in 2 decades? How many years in 2 decades? A decade means 10. Deca means 10, right? D-E-C-A. Deca means 10. That means 2 decades would have 20 years. Agreed? Okay. How many whole number of weeks are there in a year? In a regular year? Considering a year with 365 days. We are not considering a leap year. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Bedit. Thank you, Aaron. See, when we look at a calendar, we usually don't look at a calendar, but sometimes we have a calendar on the wall in our phones, right? Yes, perfect. No, we need to pick one. Is it 52 or 53? The answer came out to be 52 point something, right? How did we reach to that answer? See, what we can say is 1 week, 7 days, right? So if 365 was divided by 7. 7 times 4, 7 times 5 is 35. We're left with 1. The 5 is brought down. 7 times 2 was 14. And we were left with 1 day. So usually it is 52 weeks. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Beden. Okay. Let's say how many seconds in 5 minutes. It's simple, right? 1 minute has how many seconds? I don't remember. A minute has, when it's time, we remember it's a multiples of 60, right? That means 5 minutes. Each minute has 60 seconds. Therefore, 300 seconds, right? No. Why? Oh, you thought how many 5 minute gaps are there in 1 hour, right? Okay. For the next question, let's make it an hour. How many seconds are there in an hour? In a single hour? Very easy. In 1 hour, how many minutes do we have? 60 minutes. In 1 minute, we have 60 seconds. And we know the rule for multiplying numbers ending with 0. 6 times 6 is 36. And we simply put the 2 zeros. That means 1 hour has 3600 seconds. Okay, so let's do some questions from the test. Let's try to finish the test. These are some quantities that we should remember. Okay. The first question says, the first question from the test, question number 1, it says, this is a question number 1 from the test. Option, what should be the answer? 30 minutes is 5 halves or 1 half? Now we are doing the test. Semi. One half. 30 minutes is equals to half an hour. Okay. Thank you. For the next question, it says, convert hours into quarters. Question number 2. The given information is this. How many hours have 4 quarters? How many hours are there if we have 4 quarter hours? If we have 4 quarter hours, 4 quarters would make how many hours? 6 hours or 1 hour? Perfect. That means it forms 4 quarter forms 1 hour. Okay, let's change some values in question number 3. Are in, okay, let it be this. Question number 3. How many minutes are there in an hour? Very simple. I'm not changing the difficulty level now because we are doing lesson number 1, right? It's the first lesson, but as we move on with the different lessons, the difficulty level will change. I was thinking of writing 1.15 hours. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Aram. Thank you, Semi. 60 minutes. How many days are there in a week? In 4 weeks. The number of days in 4 weeks. The next question it says, the next question says, how many years are there in 2 decades? We just did a very similar question. And the next question says, question number 5. I cannot see the answer. How many days are there in a week? Can you write 4A or 4B? Semi. 7 multiplied by 4, right? It's 35, right? 42. Can we have the answer? Yes, 28. Thank you, Aram. How many years in 2 decades? 2 decades. We just did this. The next question. We did the simplification for question number 6 already. Question number 5 says, how many years are there in 2 decades? And question number 6 says, how many weeks in a year? Perfect. That is 20. A decade means 10. Perfect. Thank you, Sultan. And Semi? How many weeks in a year? Perfect. We did this, right? So we are just doing these questions so that we do not forget and we remember these values. Okay. Please do complete the remaining questions. And the last chapter that we did, because we are starting with the new chapter, right? Time is the new chapter. So the last chapter was multiplication. Please do complete the test at the end, right? The final test. We have done 23 lessons for that. Please do the test, okay? So that you know how much you understood, where you have problems, and we can always discuss those. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.